The secret to beating menopause belly fat at every single stage, before, during, and after, coming right up in a moment. But first, today is a celebration. It's our 6th birthday celebration. I'm excited for that. We've got some specialness happening later, maybe some giveaways, store-wide discounts for the 6th birthday sale, and the very last day to enter the $100,000 giveaway. Your dream vacation or 100K. We are living good. It is our 6th birthday celebration. Welcome in. I want to get right into this training. I was last second tweaking to get every single step. If you're before, during, or after, hormones are throwing you off from weight loss, this is what I want to break down for you. So let's dive into the training. Be right back right after to celebrate our 6th birthday. Some giveaways for you, some goodness, some celebration going on. Let's go. You can eat the same foods, do the same workouts, and one day, out of nowhere, belly fat starts to take over. That's menopause. The shocking truth is that it causes fat to shift from your hips and thighs to your belly, where it becomes harder to lose and more dangerous to keep. And yet almost no one tells you how to stop it. That's why I'm giving a complete breakdown stage by stage, from perimenopause to menopause to postmenopause. So no matter where you are in that process, you'll have the exact steps you need to fight back against unwanted and potentially deadly belly fat. Let's go to the chart first. Perimenopause. Estrogen levels are up, progesterone levels are up, but that starts to dip. It varies in age, there's no specific. It's unfortunately happening earlier and earlier, but usually in your 20s and 30s, women, those are higher, they start to dip. When you start to get into that perimenopausal phase, those hormones start to die off. I'm gonna show you how to pad the progesterone dip today. And then you get into the hot flash mode. So this is weight gain, irritability, unpredictableness, mood swings, insomnia, night sweats, and then you really get to those hot flashes, night sweats period when you're going full on menopause. The belly fat is there, it's not moving, it's stuck, especially right in kind of the pooch area. And then post-menopause, bone density becomes an issue. These don't go smoothly. It can start to dip into risks of cancers, risks of heart disease, risks with your arteries. So let's start with this first phase, okay? Perimenopause. This is the stage that comes before menopause, and most women don't even realize they're going through it until their body really starts changing and just communicating signals that they're not used to. On average, menopause happens around the age of 51, but the transition can start much earlier than that. Oftentimes in your early 40s is the most common that I see, sometimes even late 30s. It can last 7 to 10 years. You're going down this roller coaster. During that time, the hormones don't just slowly fade, but they swing up and down unpredictably. And the first big changes with your weight start to begin. So this is also the stage where belly fat usually starts to kind of show up. Studies show that women gain an average of 3 to 5 pounds per year during perimenopause. So we want to hit this straight on today if you're in this range. Sometimes it's sudden jumps, 5 to 10 pounds at a time. And the frustrating part is that it often happens without any change to how you eat or how you exercise. You can be doing what you always worked on before and what worked before for you, and then suddenly it doesn't work anymore. And then it's even more confusing is where the fat starts to go and show up at. Like most of your adult life, estrogen helped you store fat in your hips and your thighs. But as estrogen begins to fluctuate, high 1 month, low the next, the pattern starts to change, and then fat shifts from the lower body, thighs, hips, to the midsection. And as a result, women used to have kind of a pear shape, often now more apple shaped. And then the alarming part is it's not subcutaneous fat. It's not as much the kind of fat that you can pinch. That's there, I get it, okay? But it's the ones under the skin. It's visceral fat, and that's dangerous. It's the kind that wraps around your organs. And during perimenopause, it explodes. Now, if you're able to step in early, you can actually prevent these changes from snowballing into bigger and bigger problems later. But that's why this stage is the best time to take action. And if you've already gone through menopause, don't worry, it's not too late. We're going to touch on that in a moment, and I'll help you through that as well. You can still make powerful changes starting right now. In just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly what to do when you're during menopause or even after menopause. We'll have action steps there. But first, let's discuss one of the most important things you can do to fight back against belly fat during perimenopause and getting rid of toxic estrogen is where it starts. Xenoestrogens, they're called. Women and men alike amass huge exposure to fake estrogens. And so these xenoestrogens are endocrine disrupting compounds that are industrial made chemical compounds. They disrupt the communication within the body's endocrine and hormone producing organs. They bind to the cells and they look so similar. They're imposters and the body can't tell the difference. So they're activating and they make things swing way more so than normal. Now, where do they come from? Good question. There's a lengthy list. They're in our water supply. Pesticides, herbicides, cleaning products, plastics, canned goods, the inside lining of our cans. This is BPA. The receipts that you grab at the grocery store, the waxy ones. I just say no receipt. If I have an option, if I have to take it, I grab it quick and throw it in the bag or I throw it in the garbage. They are laced with BPA, which is a xenoestrogen. Air fresheners, laundry products, home furnishing, hair dyes, nail polishes, cosmetics, personal care products, perfumes, sunscreens, birth control. Many women oftentimes taking birth control 5, 10, 20 plus years, introducing synthetic forms of estrogen, xenoestrogens, many of them have, into the system. What kind of impact that has on perimenopause. Now, I'm going to show you how to detox away from it, but these are the culprits. And it's why I teach so much on quality of food and the quality of your products. And looking out for fragrances that have been added and plastics that are being used. And you start to trim these things down. Like very obvious, easy one. Some of you are going to be a little bit angry at me for this one. But the pods that you put your coffee in. And it's like, I lightened it a little bit here. You're getting a birth control in your coffee pod every morning. Like, meaning, are you getting BPA-laced plastic containers that you are heating to extreme heats to extract your coffee out? They're very convenient, but this is a really simple example of where xenoestrogens leach into our bodies, and men are not exempt because this is driving so many prostate and ED issues because of an overload of fake estrogen inside of the body. So switching products, switching to less plastic, swapping out your coffee pod for a stainless steel one that's refillable. These are steps of eliminating plastics and eliminating these sources of xenoestrogens that are extremely important. Now, where do these go once they get into your body? Because they all come in, and then the body has to deal with them. And I'm going to show you how to help your body deal with those in a moment. But they have to get stored. And interestingly enough, these get stored in your fat cells. In fact, I love this study. It's one of my favorite studies because it reveals how much further we have to go outside of just being lighter caskets at the end of the day. We need to be healthier human beings. Increased levels of chemicals are released when you burn fat to the tune of 260% blood toxin increase 2 to 4% for every 2 pounds that you lose inside your body. You increase your blood toxicity level of chemicals 2 to 4% for every 2 pounds that you lose. Meaning these are stuffed away. The body's trying to figure out what to do with it, so it pushes it away as fat, oftentimes visceral fat. And now you can see the cycle that we're in, this exposure to fake foods, which I teach a ton about, this exposure to toxic chemicals, and then the change that those impact on hormones and the storage. The body responds and stuffs this away and protects us from the chemicals and the excess estrogen happening in the body as fat. And so we got to start trimming those things back. But the most important thing you can do to fight back against belly fat, to fight back against these toxins, especially during perimenopause, is to detox and help out the organ that is dealing with it all, and that's your liver. I just showed you that when you lose weight, it's 260% increase in toxins in your blood. Proving one, toxins are stored in fat, and two, if you want to lose weight and keep it off, you need to detox out the perimenopause problem causing chemicals inside of the body that it's stored by helping the hardest working organ in your body. The liver carries the burden and it's compromised constantly. And when it is, you're going to have problems losing weight. So all weight loss starts in the liver. Like biochemistry wise, we burn up the excess stores that are in our muscles, energy that's stored in our muscles, and in our liver. Now the muscles is a form of glycogen, a form of glucose that's burned. But fat, the first place it begins to melt away is in the liver, meaning the body will prioritize that organ to start cleaning things up. It's as if it knows it's releasing a lot of toxins, and it knows if you're gonna go further and start burning belly fat and thigh fat and neck fat and visceral fat, you're gonna need your liver clear. It's the first place weight loss begins. It's the key to unlocking it. We burn it up there first, and it dictates whether released toxins get removed or if the toxins that are released during weight loss get rebounded and restored as fat. Your body's got to figure out where they go. It will shove them back as fat. That's why oftentimes we lose 5 pounds, we gain 5 pounds. We lose 5 pounds, we gain 5 pounds. The easiest way to start to impact this, and you can check out my other video breaking down how to reduce liver fat in as little as 2 weeks by up to 40%, is to follow my challenge eating plan and load up on liver nutrients like dandelion, milk thistle, berberine. There's a list of them. It's been shown to decrease liver fat by up to 40% in as little as 2 weeks. Imagine if you followed it for 12 weeks. You would be tapping in, clearing the liver, and then you're able to start releasing a lot of the fat elsewhere in the body. Now, it doesn't mean to starve yourself. It doesn't mean to constantly be hungry. So next, we're going to discuss one of the most important things you can do to fight back against cravings during perimenopause. But follow that meal plan. It's in my free book. You can grab a copy of that below. If you need liver support, which I highly recommend, check out my liver supporting supplement as well. It's the first 2 steps during perimenopause that I would put people on, following the meal plan, allowing your body to release fat, and allowing the liver to deal with the onslaught of xenoestrogens being released. And for extra help on the toxin category to understand which plastics to avoid and which to go after, it's in my book where I break down these plastics are okay, these ones are not, how do we eliminate the BPA? It's all in there to start giving you a toxin-friendly lifestyle. Let's go after those cravings. Eat more protein. Protein is important because the weight gain that you're seeing isn't just fat piling up, it's muscle quietly slipping away during this time of life. Estrogen normally helps protect your muscle mass, women. That drives your metabolism. But when the estrogen levels start swinging up and down during perimenopause, your body breaks muscle down faster and it rebuilds it slower. And since muscle is what's driving your metabolism, losing it makes your body burn fewer calories even when you're at rest. So protein is your insurance policy against that. It's the only nutrient that directly protects your muscle tissue. And most women don't realize just how important it is. If you don't meet that daily need for protein, your body doesn't just let it slide. It pushes you to keep eating until you get enough. Researchers call this the protein leverage effect. That's why it's so many women feel that they're eating this. That's why so many women feel like they're eating the same as before. Like they have the same diet, but I didn't change. Why am I all of a sudden putting weight on? But then suddenly the cravings are out of control and the belly fat keeps climbing. It's not lack of willpower. It's your body trying to close the protein gap and hold on to the muscle for efficiency. But the gap is huge. The average woman in middle life eats around 65 to 70 grams of protein in a day. But your body can benefit during this period, eating closer to 90 or even 110 for some people trying to put weight, muscle back on, depending on the person and their size. It means most perimenopausal women are running 20, 30, even 40 grams short every single day. When you fall short, you end up overeating everything else to try to catch up, to get the protein from somewhere. So you have cravings that are out of control. The ideal solution is to spread it out evenly across your meals. Usually for women, I'm around that 20 to 30 range. You could push up to the 25 to 35 gram range for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, especially if you're in perimenopause. And then women who do this, they not only lose weight, but they also preserve nearly twice as much muscle. They're just more full. It's filling you up. Protecting that muscle is the difference between a metabolism that keeps working and one that crashes. Now, when you pair the protein with a little bit of strength training, that's when everything starts to change. You've got to push back and fight back with your eating regimen and your workout regimen during this period of life. Protein gives your body the raw material to preserve muscle, but strength training is the signal that tells your body to hold on to it or even build muscle. And without that signal, your body will let your muscle slip away no matter how much protein that you eat. So protein's going to help you, fix the cravings, but then also let's build a little bit of muscle during this time. It's harder and harder and harder to get it back if you talk to the postmenopausal ladies at that stage. So we want to start building it and preserving it now. Perimenopause is the stage where the loss begins. On average, women will lose between 3 to 5% of muscle mass every decade after the age of 30. That's why strength training shouldn't wait until after menopause. You should start right now while you still have more muscle to protect. You don't need to spend hours in the gym. Even just 2 or 3 of your workout sessions each week, adding in weights is enough to send the right signals to your body. When you work out, focus on full body movements. I love to teach those. Use multiple muscle groups at once. Squats and lunges and push-ups and rows and presses. Start with high intensity, short duration reps. I like 50-second bursts because you exhaust the muscle. You tap in and get a little bit of cardio, but you don't raise cortisol levels and you build muscle. And then work your way up to what we call level 3, which is adding in weights. That's the sweet spot for building and protecting muscle. The weight should feel challenging, but not so heavy that your form breaks down. And then as you get stronger, gradually increase your speed, increase your frequency, or the resistance and the weight that your muscles are getting so they can continue to adapt and get stronger. Work multiple muscles. They all matter and can all help you be stronger, more balanced, and fuel your metabolism. Now, another mistake that a lot of women make during perimenopause is leaning harder into cardio when belly fat starts to show up. I had a good friend that was doing this. They had to cut it completely out. They were running consistently, and it was just not doing what it was doing in their 20s and 30s. It was actually going the wrong direction. Long cardio training sessions don't protect your muscle. They also raise cortisol levels. If you enjoy it, I'm not telling you to stop it all today. Just be aware that if you're doing a lot of it, you are raising your stress hormone. And with lower estrogen levels already in your body isn't equipped to handle the elevated cortisol like it could in your 20s and 30s. So aim to keep your cardio sessions brief, ideally 20 to 30 minutes if you're gonna do it, 2 to 3 times a week if you're gonna do it. Stick to moderate intensity to maintain lower cortisol levels while you're doing it. One of the safest ways to do this is just brisk walking. I stinking love it. It supports fat loss so well, it supports heart health so well, and it is very cortisol friendly. It doesn't trigger a big stress response. If you want to learn more about the best ways to use walking to lose belly fat, I'll include a link to the end of my video covering the 8 best walking hacks that you can start using today. It's a super popular video that a ton of people are finding a lot of benefit from, and it's so easy to do. One of them is not only great cardio as a benefit from walking, but actually helps you build muscle while walking, which makes it a great option for women going through perimenopause, menopause, or even postmenopause. So stay tuned for that. Sleep is the other piece that I wanted to touch on. The other big danger that starts during perimenopause is not getting enough sleep. Falling estrogen, falling progesterone trigger hot flashes, night sweats, racing thoughts. They prevent you from staying asleep at night. And research shows that these sleep disturbances can continue and can contribute to weight loss just as much as the hormones changing themselves. In fact, just 4 nights of poor sleep is enough to slash insulin sensitivity by 20% and drop fat burning by 12%. It means that your body's storing fat instead of using it for fuel. All because you didn't sleep well. So another goal during perimenopause is to protect your sleep like it's a medicine for your body. I don't like that. Like it's nurturing your body. It's the reset button for your body. Some great strategies: go to bed, wake up at the same time each day, even on weekends. Create a simple wind down ritual that your body knows it's safe to power down, like reading or stretching or prayer. Keep your room cool. The sweet spot is like 68 degrees. Cut out the blue light, the phones, the TVs, the screens at night, at least an hour before bed. Switch devices to night mode. Wear blue light blocking glasses if you are watching things to protect your melatonin. And then push your larger meals earlier. Big dinners at 4 or 5 are going to suit you way better for sleep than if you eat at 8 o'clock. Digestion's working overtime and it keeps you awake. So try to finish eating at least 3 hours before bed. And then just keep that room dark, blacked out. Eye mask makes a huge difference. Even something as basic as breathing exercises, I love to teach those, or taking magnesium, 7 forms of magnesium in one before bed, can calm the nervous system and cut down cortisol for better sleep. So, summing up perimenopause, right? I want to hit on a couple of nutrients that I would definitely be adding in. Carrots. Carrots help estrogen be eliminated. The xenoestrogens, the excess, more carrots in your diet or carrot juice help eliminate the extra estrogen. Gut health, liver health. They also are huge in cancer prevention. Vitamin C. This is the biggest change you can make today if you're in perimenopause. Women who take vitamin C have significantly increased their levels of progesterone in their system. Women who take 750 milligrams or more of vitamin C per day at an increase of 77%. So using vitamin C is very important to help support healthy progesterone levels. Other vitamins and minerals, vitamin D, it's a precursor to every hormone you have in your body. Magnesium and zinc are also precursors to your female hormones. Fenugreek could be added in at this stage to support the symptoms that you might be going through day by day, and some of the mood changes can be curbed. So here's the breakdown of it. There's the study on carrots eliminating. There's the study on vitamin C having an increase and the impact of it. How fenugreek helps the androgens of the body, especially in perimenopausal women. And your sum up here is detox that liver. Follow our challenge eating plan. It's in the book. Liver supporting nutrients, milk thistle, berberine, etc. That's in my liver support supplement. Add in the protein, get your amino acids. Our collagen protein has a full amino acid profile, especially L-arginine. That's one of the most important during perimenopausal. You're using your weighted 10-minute workouts. You're doing walking. Vitamin C, D, zinc, magnesium, very important during this time. And fenugreek might be your friend right there to really fend things off. Now, let's go to stage 2. Okay, stage 1, perimenopause. Stage 2, we are entering into menopause. So next, menopause is when the transition lands. It's officially 12 months without a period. That's what the criteria is. Most often it happens around age 51, as I mentioned, but mid-40s to mid-50s is still normal. In perimenopause, the fat started moving from the hips and the thighs towards the waist. Now in menopause, your hormones don't keep swinging. They drop and they stay low. And the belly fat that began rising in perimenopause becomes your body's default storage site. We start to get stuck there. It's not only frustrating, but it's also dangerous. The visceral fat packed around the liver, the intestines, and the heart. It doesn't just sit there quietly. It dumps toxins and toxic fatty acids straight into the liver. And it releases inflammatory signals that can drive your insulin resistance to get worse, increase your blood sugar, and create artery damage. Now, with fat cells themselves produce estrogen. In a study of newly menopausal healthy women, over a 4-year period, women showed an increase in weight and body fat, primarily as visceral fat, which coincided with a drop in estradiol and a decrease in physical activity and energy expenditure. Your body is releasing hormones. The fat is releasing hormones, which then leads to more fat, which then releases more hormones, which then leads to more fat, and it gets worse. The studies show that this visceral fat is keeping you stuck in this cycle that stimulates the production of more fat, more estrogen production, more fat, more changes in the hormones. Here's the sneaky part. The scale might not even warn you, but having less muscle and more visceral fat means you could weigh the same, but you are now way more fat than you are muscle, even without a big change in your weight. It kind of looks like this. Look at the amount of fat in this person's outline when you do scans like this. The amount of visceral fat in the body, but there's also more muscle. But then when you look at this same person who has a skinnier frame, still has a significant amount of visceral fat, and then look at the loss of muscle. You can look at the body scans of a visibly overweight person and a visibly thin person, and it is possible for the thin person to have just as much visceral fat in their belly as an overweight individual. Just because you're skinny doesn't make you healthy. We don't want just lighter caskets, we want healthier human beings. So what we really want to measure, I want to introduce this number to you, is your waist to hip ratio. The waist to hip ratio is far better measurement of health during menopause than getting on the scale, honestly. And it gives you an idea of how much visceral fat that you have. How much work do we have to do? So here's how you check it. You'll grab a tape measure. You're going to measure first thing in the morning before you have bloating or anything like that. First thing in the morning, okay? Measure around the narrowest part of your waist, wherever that may be. Just above the belly button is usually where it is. Then measure the widest part of your hips. A little math, early in the morning, you're going to divide the waist number, which is typically bigger, by your your waist number, which is smaller, divided by your hip number, which is bigger. It's going to look kind of like this. So you're going to be somewhere between 35 and 50 inches with your hip number, the bigger number. And so let's say you measured your hips, the widest point, and it was 44 inches. And then you measured your waist at its smallest point, and it was 38 inches. You are in this red area over here. And you have an increased risk of heart impact because of the visceral fat that is storing. If you're in the green, when your hip widest point lines up with your waist narrowest point, and you are below 1.85 is the sweet spot, now you're at low risk with visceral. You want to be below 0.85 with that measurement. Waist, narrowest spot divided by hip, widest spot. And you want that number to be below 0.85 to be in the safe range. If it's closer to 1, if it's above 1, that means you probably have too much and it's time to make a significant change. So what do? Food is the first focus. Starting with that, each meal you eat is either adding to your belly or helping you get rid of it. That's why the first step is simple. Get rid of the foods that are working against you and making visceral fat worse. Now, those of you who follow me for a while, you know I use the acronym CRAP to represent all the food that you should stay away from. Narrowed down, it's broken down into 1, carbohydrates and sugars that are refined, white breads, white pastas, white pastries, candies, sodas, fruit juices. 2, rancid oils, canolas, soybean oils, corn, cottonseed, sunflower, safflower, anything fried in those oils. Especially fried because it adds aging to the oil, which ages your cells faster. It's a huge factor when it comes to menopause. The A is artificial ingredients, especially sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose. Food dyes, preservatives, MSGs, a lot of those also introduce xenoestrogens. We've really got to pay attention to quality of food. Finally, processed proteins of deli meats or hot dogs or sausages or bacons or meats with hormones and antibiotics added reap a lot of havoc inside the body. Any other types of processed meats, we need to be away from them. Basically, anything that humans have overly processed, overly refined, or tampered with. It's not a real whole food when it's likely making your visceral fat worse. So if we want to make sure we're focused on real, if it's not a real quality healthy food, it's probably making the visceral fat worse. So that formula for building meals of what to eat and what not to eat and burning fat during menopause, it is broken down in the book. It is our challenge eating plan, and it includes things like clean proteins, healthy fats, and a focus on fiber. There's a big difference between carbohydrates with fiber and carbohydrates not with fiber. That's all you need to target the stubborn belly fat that shows up during menopause. Extra protein to help control the cravings, to help stimulate the GLP-1, does the same thing as Ozempic, stabilizing your blood sugar and helping your insulin levels. We want clean sources of protein. We want fiber. When menopause hits, fiber goes from nice to have to a non-negotiable. It provides a lot of nutrients directly to the body and helps pull visceral fat off the body. One study showed a direct link between more daily fiber and less belly fat over time. So it keeps digestion moving, especially when there's that drop in estrogen. Now, the problem is a lot of people are in a deficit of it. The average American adult only eats about 15 grams of fiber per day. It's roughly half of what's recommended. So increase your fiber, your vegetables, your seeds, low sugar fruits, legumes and beans. And then we want to get those healthy fats in and especially stay away from the unhealthy fats. Your brain is made of it. So if there's brain fog and there's irritability, we got to feed it healthy fats. They come from oils. They come from the foods that we eat. It's going to help with those mood swings. Women who increase their omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon or chia seed, or maybe a supplement of omega-3, had significant reductions in their belly fat and their triglycerides. Another study found that meals rich in monosaturated fats like olive oil and avocados led to more fat burning during these periods of time. So adding in clean oils, proper oils, they're all broken down in the food list in there. So nutrients to take during menopause. Following that eating plan, One of the top nutrients you can add in to help support the symptoms, the flashes, the changes that are going on during menopause is chasteberry. There's solid research breaking down chasteberry and its support of menopausal and abnormal period times. So this can be used earlier in life, women, but especially during this menopausal period. Black cohosh is another helpful remedy that relieves menopausal symptoms by up to 26%. So follow the challenge eating plan, remove the crap, really focus on protein and fiber during menopause. 10-minute workouts, add in a little bit of weight. It's going to be helpful to prevent bone loss when it's postmenopausal, but getting those workouts in, working with your hormones, adding in chasteberry, adding in black cohosh. I made a women's hormone support with exactly those nutrients, the fenugreek, some of the other ones in there. You can look at that one. It helps to get you those nutrients in an easy way. Now, part 3, postmenopausal. Let's touch on this. It begins the day after you've gone 12 months straight. No period. Menopause is done. Day after that, we're starting into postmenopause. So menopause is that period of like, there's this 12-month time when I'm not having a period at all. And then, okay, I've been doing this for over a year. Menopause itself, just that one milestone moment, right? After that, postmenopause is the stage that follows it, okay? Now, it's usually from your mid-50s onward, and it lasts for the rest of your life, okay? Less than 1% of the estrogen you had at age 25 is left. Progesterone is virtually gone. Testosterone is down to about half of what it was. Yes, women, you have testosterone. And this is why belly fat becomes so entrenched in postmenopause. There's not enough estrogen to protect you from chronic inflammation. So inflammation rises across the body in the joints. It pushes more fat into the belly, creates even more inflammation once there's more fat in the belly. And then there's a vicious cycle now between fat production, inflammation, fat production, inflammation. The body gets soft. Timing matters. To fight back, eating the right foods, like we just discussed, is critical, like we're doing in menopause. But it's not just what you eat anymore, it's when you eat it. Studies show postmenopausal women have a harder time burning fat through exercise, but time-restricted eating works just as well in this stage as it does for younger women, premenopause. That means you don't have to accept belly fat as permanent. You still train your body to burn fat by simply changing your eating window. So here's how to get started. Pick a 10-hour eating window every day. Say 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Stick with that for a week and do not snack. Next, when it feels a little bit comfortable and you're starting to get into that groove, shrink it down or half size your breakfast. So you could go down to an 8-hour window, or you could half size breakfast and start curbing back your consumption, either one. Over time, that's going to start to restrict you even more, and you, at that point, can try the concept that I call night fasting. Because when you lower your 8-hour window, and let's say you do a smaller breakfast and you eat dinner at 4 o'clock, you now have multiple hours to burn that off after 4 o'clock. You're burning dinner the rest of the day as opposed to eating dinner at 7 o'clock. It means finishing your last meal 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, somewhere in that range. It's a true overnight break. And it matters because eating earlier in the day lowers insulin and it allows the growth hormone to rise overnight so that your body can burn fat in your sleep. People who finish meals by 3 p.m. lost 5 more pounds of fat in 8 weeks than those who ate later. Even though both of the groups are eating the exact same food. They also report better sleep because they're not working on digestion, they're working on healing and sleeping. And for those that are interested in learning more about that, I'll put a link below to my night fasting breakdown video and guide in the description. It includes instructions for how to get started with night fasting and time-restricted eating, plus a complete list of foods that you should be eating along with a couple delicious recipes that can help you cut through some of that belly fat. Now, in addition to fasting, you probably also need to step up your efforts to preserve muscle. Starting in your mid-50s, muscle loss speeds up in a way that's hard to ignore. On average, women lose about 1% of their muscle every single year that they're not actively protecting it. Over a decade, that's 10% of your lean tissue gone. So Here's another challenge. Even when you do exercise, the fat loss returns aren't the same as they were when you were exercising in your 30s and 40s. Studies show that postmenopausal women simply burn less fat from the same workout compared to younger women. Now, that doesn't mean exercise stops working, but it does mean that cardio sessions or light workouts won't do the job anymore. That is why your high-intensity, short-duration workouts work the best. It's why I recommend them so often. So if you're not postmenopausal and still struggling with belly fat, then it's probably time to incorporate high-intensity interval training. If you're postmenopausal, okay? HIIT, high-intensity interval training, has been scientifically proven to reduce belly fat better than long cardio sessions. It strengthens your muscles at the same time. So you're gonna pick a simple workout, simple exercise. Full body movements are best, like I said before. Push-ups, squats, burpees, mountain climbers. Push hard, doing that exercise for 50 seconds and take a 10-second break. Then go to the next exercise. Do the same thing, 50 on, 10 off. Next exercise, 50 on, 10 off. That's one round. Take a 40-second break and repeat that same thing 2 more times, and you have a 9-minute and 50-second workout. In an hour a week, if you did it 6 times a week, in an hour, you can get in the shape of your life and burn up that fat. Now it could feel challenging. You don't need to be gasping on the floor, but you do need to breathe heavy to burn fat. It burns that belly fat, it keeps cortisol under control, and it's done in less than an hour a week. It is truly one of the best tools to fight menopausal belly past the age of 55. Some other tools to pick up. You definitely want to be adding in vitamin D3 and K2 during this time of life. Bone density hits hard here. D3 and K2 are what are going to protect that and place calcium in your bones. Those two need to be taken together. Epimedium is another one to consider. Epimedium is also known as horny goatweed. All the men are like, yeah, pay attention to this Dr. Living Good. It's also known as horny goatweed, but epimedium prevents bone loss and supports women's hormones, especially during this season. So the Advanced Challenge Eating Plan will give you, it's the Advanced Challenge Eating Plan. It's the plan that we use in all of our challenges and in the book. It gives you that breakdown of utilizing time-restricted eating. The 10-minute workouts, adding in weight, protect the bones, protect the muscles, get the vitamin D3 and K2 in, and consider adding epimedium if you're having some of those symptoms. Some of the others like black cohosh and some of those will help protect if you're still transitioning a little bit. There's your breakdown. If you get that women's hormone support, there also is a quiz. It breaks down men and women. And I worked with a hormone clinic years ago, and I developed, based on your symptoms and your issues, what is the major hormone to focus on the most? I get this question so often, and so many people. I just got one sent to me yesterday from a close acquaintance, and they're like, will you check out my hormone panel? And it told nothing. There was just nothing. It's very difficult. You really got to know a functional medicine doctor to really do testing and understand it, but you can learn a lot just from that quiz. And that, when you get that women's hormone support, there's a QR code on the side of the bottle. It'll give you that. It'll give you my Happy Hormones guide and really break all that down. So a lot of resources with those videos. Tap in, use them as you wish, but there's so much you can really be leaning into. Now, if you're not quite ready to jump into high-intensity, short-duration workouts, right, to begin that journey, don't worry. There's a way to ease into it while still burning fat and building muscle all at the same time. It's called rucking, and it's actually one of the hacks that I share in the video I mentioned earlier, 8 walking hacks that melt belly fat fast. In it, I will show you how to walk in a way that flips your body into fat-burning mode without adding hours to your routine. And I'll explain how rucking can help you build muscle while getting cardio at the same time. I'll include a link to that right here, right now. Click that, watch it next, and I will see you over there.